Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Not Your Average Josh, back here again for another movie review. It is the new movie Joy Ride, the comedy movie. But before I get into this review, I do want to say, as I always say, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and also leave a comment down below if you have any thoughts on this movie or anything else you want to leave down there. What's your favorite comedy movie or whatever? Hit that subscribe button as well if this is your first time watching any of my videos, or if you're a returning viewer as well. As always, any support is always very much appreciated. Still a small channel here, just continuing to grow slowly, just doing this as a hobby when I have time, just for fun. You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this, but for the most part my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. So again, I appreciate all the support. Let's go ahead and get into this movie review of Joy Ride. This movie is directed by Adelaide Lim, I believe is how you say it. It's also written by Sherry, and I'm sorry, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name. It's nothing against you. I just honestly do not want to butcher it, because I know I'm not going to be able to say it right, but Cherry is also with the writing credits here, and Teresa Xiao and Adele Lim here, also the director with the writing credits as well. And this movie, if you do not know, follows four Asian American friends as they bond and discover the truth of what it means to know and love who you are while they travel through Asia in search of one of their birth mothers. This is a movie I have been hearing nothing but good, if not great things about. People saying it's hilarious, comparing it to things like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Superbad, Girls Trip, which is a movie I have not seen. The most hilarious movies that you've seen in the past like 20-30 years, people are comparing this to. So I had pretty high expectations going into this. I was able to go to a sneak preview of this. It was a pretty full crowd. I was anticipating it pretty well. I dragged a couple of my friends along to go see it as well. We were all just hanging out, and so we went to go see this movie, and I will say, I think some of the expectations were set a little bit high just in my mind for this movie. It was good. I really did like it. Everyone that's involved here, the acting is all really well done. The directing as well. It is a very fun movie. I have not ever seen the movie Bridesmaids. I've heard that people compare it to that as well. It seems like, from what I've heard from that movie, it could make sense. I can imagine it being like that. This movie does play at times like a kind of a throwback, traditional like chick flick movie, if you will, if that's even still a term people use. It definitely plays like that in a lot of ways, and so some of the humor definitely was tailored really towards women, not in a bad way or anything. It's just kind of how it was. How some movies like The Hangover, there's some of the humor tailored towards men and shit. Like, that's just how some of the humor is in this, and it's all very well done. I think in terms of consistency throughout this movie, it's all really well done. The moments that are very hilarious, they really hit. Like, they really knock it out of the park with some moments in this movie. Some visual hilarious moments in this movie are just stuff I'm probably not gonna get out of my head for a while. Just in terms of, they really go out of their way to show the raunchy, just over the top, vulgar humor in this, and it all really hits. Like, we were cracking up, me and my friends, at some of these jokes in this movie. So when it's hitting, it's hitting on all cylinders. I just think there's some parts in this movie where I'm like, okay, it's really good what's going on here. The writing's all well done. I can see what they're doing with the story. It just felt like, for me, the story I didn't connect with as much. And of course, yeah, it's about a woman, an Asian American woman who's trying to find who her real mother is. Obviously, I'm not going to connect with that on, like, just a general level. But for me, like, the story wasn't as compelling, I think, as it could have been. It just felt very kind of generic, something that you may have seen in other comedy movies. And I do also like, do like a lot of comedy road trip movies as well. I think that's a good concept to go with when you're doing a comedy movie. But I think I wasn't as connected or compelled. And I think that's what kind of held me back from really loving this movie. And it wasn't, like, hilarious from beginning to end, like some other movies are, like Superbad for me, or Pineapple Express, or 40-Year-Old Virgin. Movies that, for me, that I'm connected with the story immediately from the beginning, no matter how ridiculous it gets, while also can't wait for that next hilarious moment. Whereas with this movie, Joy Ride, I was more subconsciously, really. I wasn't constantly thinking it, like, in my head, knowingly, I guess. I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for the next hilarious moment. Kind of. That's what I felt like after the movie. While I was kind of like, I kind of felt that throughout the movie. I was in that mindset, I guess, of just like, oh, when's the next hilarious moment going to be? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a comedy movie. It's a little over an hour and a half, so it works in that way. And I did like the movie overall, but I didn't love it like I was maybe expecting I might, And so that's the thing about going into movies with expectations as well. You can't read too much into reviews or anything with any movie, because everyone's going to see movies differently, especially with a comedy. It's so subjective, and so there's going to be some people that probably just don't really connect with this movie at all. There's going to be other people that really just love the hell out of this movie. It's going to be their favorite movie, definitely favorite comedy movie of the year. For me, I liked it. Like, so the jokes all were really consistently well done. I think the story, even though it is very generic and not as fresh as I might have wanted at times, it still works for this movie. And I think the chemistry also, I have to mention, with these four main actresses. Stephanie Sue as Kat, she is just really good. All these women bring their own dynamic to this movie of what they make funny, and also just really memorable moments with each character. But Stephanie Sue, who was also in Everything Everywhere All at Once, where I think I first saw her in, she was great in that. She's really good in here, playing most obnoxious, over-the-top character maybe of the group, and just a wild, the things she says, the way she acts, her personality. It's very funny and entertaining to watch. Ashley Park as Audrey. She is the main girl that is trying to look for a birth mother that we're really following here. Really the narrative story that we are following in this movie is all with her. The other characters are just kind of along for the ride here, and so there is some of that where I'm like, I'm not as interested in the other characters besides the funny and entertaining shit that they do, which I guess is a comedy movie, so as long as you have that one narrative story, I guess that makes sense maybe for them not to have really anything else going for them. She did really good though here. Sherry Cola as Lolo, she was definitely more of the not as outrageously funny as like a Stephanie Sue in this movie. She was definitely more of like kind of the personality more geared towards like Ashley Park, where they're kind of the same type of people. They definitely be funny and can be definitely vulgar with their shit, with their language and how they tell jokes, but they're just not as out there as like Stephanie Sue or even like a Deadeye is in this movie, the character Deadeye. She was really fun and entertaining, but she was probably maybe my least favorite, I guess, but she was still really good in this though. In terms of like entertainment value though, she was just more on that kind of conservative, contained level, I guess, compared to the other characters in this. And Sabrina Wu as Deadeye, just really nice character here. Pretty memorable moments with that character as well, and she was just a nice addition. They all added something very nice to this movie, and was a nice little four-women ensemble cast here, and it all felt very natural to us. Something I wanted to mention, like with how some movies can feel like woke and whatever, we're like, oh, they gotta make an all-Asian cast. This felt so very natural. It just felt like a good story. Again, I mentioned it was generic, but it still is a good story that is funny plenty of times throughout, hilarious at various moments. It doesn't feel like it's being pushed or anything, or there's some agenda with it. That's something that I appreciate as well. Like, this is exactly what you want from a movie like this. And beyond those main four, you have various other people that pop in throughout this movie. They're really the main four that get the most screen time in this. Ronnie Chang shows up in this movie as well. He's always funny to see his whatever character he is doing in a movie. And yeah, it was just a little over an hour and a half. It was just a fun comedy movie to see during this summer. I say this movie still, even though I didn't quite like it like I might have thought I would, is definitely on that level of really consistent comedy movies. I feel like, for me personally, that we've gotten this year. About My Father was really good. The No Hard Feelings came out recently, and now you got this in terms of just like the straight up comedy movies. The Machine was a little bit of that, but it had a lot more action in it, more of a balance. But it's been a pretty damn good year for comedy movies, and I think, yeah, overall, people are kind of disappointed right now. They're looking at the box office for all these movies. And look, I think there's another conversation to be had with that. I think in terms of these comedy movies, for the most part, they're pretty chill on the budget. Now, this Joyride movie, I don't know. Going to Asia and everything, I don't know what quite the budget was, or how much of it was shot like on location or whatever. So I don't know how much the budget was for this Joyride movie. But I think No Hard Feelings, the budget wasn't too much. It was around 40-something million, I think. So I think just in general, though, again, another conversation to be had, probably for more of another video to make. But some of these big movies like Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny, no reason that needs to be like $300 million or whatever the price they're saying that it is. Like, that's just ridiculous. Big movies nowadays, I mean, they need to scale back the money on this shit. Like, you could make a big movie without it being so much money. I get it's harder nowadays with inflation and everything, or whatever, excuse they use, but you gotta rein it back, because they're putting themselves at such a deficit and negative to start when they're just releasing these movies. Like, Indiana Jones has to be like the greatest movie ever just to really hope to break even, because it's just like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Anyways, it's a lot to get into, but with this movie specifically, again, I don't know how much it costs to make, but hopefully it'll make a pretty good amount of money back. And I think there's gonna be a lot of people like, this is definitely good for, like, especially if you got a group of girlfriends, like you're in college or something, go out. This would be a fun night. Just drink a little bit, have a good time, laugh out loud, because it's definitely tailored for that group, especially like 18 to 40, like women should really love this movie, and I think it'd be a fun theater experience for them. I really did enjoy this movie. No major negatives in terms of like the writing or anything. I thought it was all pretty well done. Again, I guess maybe it's a mixed aspect overall to the story, maybe, just because I did mention it was something that we've seen before in comedy movies, and it wasn't anything that I was too locked into in terms of the actual story or everything. I was just more just remembering all the jokes when I left this movie. But I think it'll definitely have a lot of fun moments for plenty of audience members that go see this. So that's my main thoughts. I'm going to give Joyride a 7 out of 10. really fun comedy movie. Not necessarily one that I would usually, if I wasn't doing a channel like this or just wasn't just trying to go see as many movies as I can, probably wouldn't be one that I would rush out to see or anything like that. I don't know how often I will revisit a movie like this. Again, I've never seen the movie Bridesmaids, and so I've heard about that movie. I definitely want to get to that because I've really heard great things about that one too. But I think it is a good watch. If you're interested in it already, I think you'll have a pretty damn good time with this movie. If you feel like it's for you, this movie probably is for you. It's really really fun, and I'm glad it was made. It is a good movie. But what do you guys think? Do you care about seeing this movie? Have you even heard about it? If you have seen it, do you like it? Do you love it, hate it, in the middle, whatever? Leave your thoughts down below. What is your favorite comedy movie of all time? Also, you can put that down there as well. It's always interesting to hear what people's favorite comedy movies are. But also, leave a like if you enjoyed this video as well, and hit that subscribe button. If you're first time watching any of my videos, or if you're a returning viewer as well, you can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this. But for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh, as always. So again, I appreciate all the support. Look for more videos very soon. Again, as of right now, I should have my Indiana Jones movies up. There should be a playlist. You can go watch I reviewed all the Indiana Jones films, including Dial of Destiny. You can go watch that right now on my channel. Other than that, I'm just going to be posting more new releases and other things that I can get to. So yeah, be looking for more videos very soon. I will talk to you guys later.